I just want to say, until we were on the Zoom call for the Musar class about a week and a half ago, when your name was William on the bottom of the screen, I had never I know Bill is short for, a nickname for William, but, I just never thought of you as William.
Yeah.
And then I just want to let you know, I wanted to honor you so much that I renamed the street I live on to William Boulevard.
To William Boulevard. Thank you very much.
Actually, I didn't rename it. I chose that originally when moving here because I just knew.
Okay, so we've started streaming now, so we'll go ahead and get started. We won't be doing a full Torah service today. We don't have anybody who can chant from Torah for us.
I thought I was.
Yeah, we're not doing a Torah service.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
But when it's time, then we will have you come give us a drash on a bit of the Torah.
Oh, okay.
And then David's gonna read the Haftarah for us today.
If you still want me to.
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. Okay. So we'll start on page 288. Modeh lefanecha, melech ha'ayam, she'etzarta v'nishmati v'chemla, v'chemla, rava emunatecha, rava emunatecha, Morning blessings all together. Asher natan l'sekivina, l'ha'im b'yom u'b'layla. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, pokei ha'ivrim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, matir ha'asurim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, zokeh keduvim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, rocha haaretz al hamayim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamehi mitzadei gaber. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, malbish arumim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hanotei moed koach. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamavir shinamei benai u'rimamei akapai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani b'tzelem Elohim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani ben chorim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Oser Yisrael b'Gvura. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Oser Yisrael b'Tifara. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher kishanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah.
Adonai our God, make the words of your Torah sweet to us, and to the house of Israel your people,
That we and our children may be lovers of your name, and students of your Torah. We praise you, O God, teacher of Torah to our people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, halamed Torah l'amo Yisrael.
Elu devarim she'en lehem shiur, she'yadamu kel peroteham ba'olam hazeh, v'hakeren kayemet le'olam haba, ve'elu hem kibud ava'im u'gmilut chasadim, v'hashkamat beit hamidrash shacharit ve'arevi, v'haknasat orkim u'bikur golim, v'haknasat kala v'yad ha'beit b'yud tefillah, v'hava shalom bein adam l'chavero, v'talmud Torah k'neged kulam. Yikadam yikadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Ve'almai l'rakirotei v'amik makotei v'kayachonei v'makonei v'kovei Yisrael v'agalav yizman kari v'imeru.
Amen.
Yehei shemei
Rabbah
Rabbah
v'orak ve'olam v'omeomaya.
Yibarak v'yishabak v'yifar v'yishramam v'yinaseh v'yitadar v'yitalei v'yitalah shemei Kudusha.
Barichu.
Barichu leila mikol birkata v'shirata tushbekata v'nekemata daviram ve'alma v'imeru.
Amen.
All Yisrael, all Rabbanan, all Talmidehum, ve'akol Talmidehum, ve'akol Bandi Eskim v'oraita, v'vatra hadei v'kol atar v'atar, yehei lahom rokom shalom rabba, kina v'kisa v'rachamim, v'yakin arekin, Uzonei Rabbikim Furkana Minkadam Avuhon Divishmaya Vara Ve'imeru.
Amen.
Yehei Shalom Rabba Min Shemaya Ve'chayin Tovim Aleinu Ve'al Yisrael Ve'imeru.
Amen.
Osei Shalom B'Roma V'Barakamav Yasei Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Yisrael Ve'al Yoshvei Tevel Ve'imeru. Amen. Baruch Shemar V'Haya Ha'olam. Baruch, Baruch Oseh Bereshit, Baruch Omer Ve'oseh, Baruch Ozer U'Mekayem, Baruch Merakem Ha'aretz, Baruch Merakem Ha'abriot, Baruch Meshalem Sakartot L'Re'ah, Baruch Ha'adam Mekayam L'Netzach, Baruch Bodeh U'Mutil, Baruch Shemelo. The bottom of the page, 4 lines up from the bottom. With songs of praise we extol you and proclaim your sovereignty. For you are the source of life in the universe. One God, life in the universe. Praised and glorious ruler. Your name is eternal. Blessed are you, Adonai, sovereign is glorified and praised. Baruch atah Adonai, melech haolam eskishrato. Mizmor shir yom haShabbat, tov levodo Adonai, uzamer l'shimcha elyon, uzamer l'shimcha elyon. Mizmor shir yom haShabbat, tov levodo Adonai, uzamer l'shimcha elyon, uzamer l'shimcha elyon. L'hamid b'boker chastecha, emunatcha b'leilot, alei asor, alei navel, alei digayom ve'inot. Mizmor shir yom haShabbat, tov levodo Adonai, uzamer l'shimcha elyon, uzamer l'shimcha elyon. Ki samatani Adonai b'kol lecha, b'maaseh yadecha aranei, ma'alu ma'aseh Adonai, me'odem ma'ashetecha. Mizmor shir yom haShabbat, tov levodo Adonai, uzamer l'shimcha elyon, uzamer l'shimcha elyon. Tzadik ata Yifra, ke'eretz Lebanon, yitzrech Shituli, b'beit Adonai, b'chatzrot Eloheinu ya'afrihu. Oh, Yinu Yitzrayah, B'sheni v'rani, yiyu lehani, Yeshua Adonai, Tzuri v'lo alatabo. Ashrei Ashrei Techa Yelelu Kasela.
Ashrei Hashem Shekalo, Ashrei Hashem Shadonai Elohai.
Tila l'David, Aramon Mekah Elohai HaMelech, V'achar Shimcha le'olam ba'ed.
B'chol yom ha'arecha, v'olam shikha le'olam ba'ed.
Gadol Adonai v'olam me'od, v'ligdol arto en keker.
Dor yisma'techa, u'barotecha yagidu.
Hadar kavod hodecha, v'divrei flotecha asika.
Ve'azuz nuratecha yomiru, u'kutulaka asafreina.
Zeker Raptukaya biyu, V'siha Takaya raneyu.
Chanu Adonai, Erech Hamayim Gudol Chesed.
Tov Adonai lakol, V'rachama v'chol ma'asah.
Yoduka Adonai kol ma'asecha, Hasitecha yivarchuka.
Kavod malchut Takaya meru, V'rat Takaya daberu.
Ahodia livnei ha'adam yota, Ukul hadam malchuto.
Malchut Takamachuka olamim, U'memshal Takabekol dor vador.
So me'ach Adonai b'kol hanaflim, Zokek v'kol ha'krufim.
Einei kol eleka yasaberu, Ve'atanu tem lahem et ochlam b'ito.
Oteach et yedecha, Maspia v'kol ha'tzorah.
Zadik Adonai b'kol deraka, V'kasi b'kol ma'asah.
Karov Adonai b'kol korah, V'kol asher yikrahu ve'emet.
Rison Yirei Av Yaseh, Ve'et Shabbatam Yishma B'Yoshiyim.
Shomer Adonai kol ha'av, Ve'et kol ha'sharim yashmin.
Adonai yadaber pi, v'varei kol basar, Shem kol shol elam va'ed. Ba'anani nevarech ya, me'atah ad olam. Hallelujah. 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 Shofar, hallelujah, negev linor, hallelujah, tofu makol, hallelujah, mini bilgav, hallelujah, 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 tzitzei shama, hallelujah, tzitzei shuvah, kol hashama. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Nishma Ruach, Tivarech Shemcha Adonai Eloheinu. Ha'el b'tatzamot uzecha, ha'gadol b'kavod shemecha, ha'gibor lanetzach v'hanara b'norotecha, ha'melech ha'yoshev al kisei ram v'nisa, shokei ad marom b'kadosh shemo, v'katu ranenu tzadikim b'Adonai, la'sharim nevat tehila, v'fi yesharim tithalal, v'divrei tzadikim titbara, L'bashon chasadim titroma, l'bekeret kerushim titkadash, l'makalo rivot alka beit Yisrael, barina yivar shimcha malkeinu b'kodor v'ador, yishtabach shimcha la'ad malkeinu, ha'el hamalek hagadol hakadosh v'shamayim v'haaretz, baruch atah Adonai, El Malek Adol B'Tishbakot, El Ha'odod Adonai Klod, Habuker B'Shirei Simra, Melech Elkei Ha'olamim. Yitkadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah, Bi'amad Yirachirotei Bi'amik Bakutei, V'kayim V'yom Ukayed kol beit Yisrael, Ba'agava, U'bizman karim, V'yimeru amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah mevorach, Le'olam le'amel Adar, Vitale, Vitala, Shle Kudashah, Leila, Mikal Birkata Bashirata,
Tushbekata Nekemata, Dan Liman Belma.
Vimeru.
Amen.
We rise for the Barku. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorah.
Baruch Adonai Le'olam.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorah Le'olam Va'ed. Together, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Yotzer oror v'yishet, Oseh shalom borei et hakol, Hamair haaretz v'aramim melech harakamim, U'tzulo kadesh yom tamid ma'aseh bereshit, Ma'avu ma'aseka Adonai, Ku'ana ma'asita, Ma'ala haaretz kinecha, Titbarak Adonai Eloheinu, Al Shabbat Service, Ve'al Me'orei Or She'asita Yifaruka Selah, Or Kadash Al Sion Ta'ir, V'niskei Kulan V'Eroda Ro, Baruch atah Adonai, Yoser HaMe'orot, Or Kadash Al Sion Ta'ir, Or Kadash Al Sion Ta'ir, Or Kadash, Al Sion Ta'ir, Or Kadash, Al Sion Ta'ir. V'niskei kulanu be'era le'oro. V'niskei kulanu be'era le'oro. Or Kadash, Al Sion Ta'ir, Or Kadash, Al Sion Ta'ir, Or Kadash, Al Sion Ta'ir, Or Kadash, Al Sion Ta'ir. Now on page 314. El Adona Kol HaMasim Baruch Hu Borah V'Pika Neshama Kolo V'Tulo Malei Olam Da'at U'Muna Se'Levi Moto Hamid Gaia Ahayot HaKodesh V'Neder V'Kavod Amen Kavod Zechut Yomishor Lifnei Kristo Chesed V'Rachamim Lifnei Kavodo U'Bi Me'oro Shebar Eloheinu Yitzhara Medan Meram Ve'Haskel Koach U'Gvura Natan Bahem Li'ov Moshlim V'Kerub Tevel V'Leim Sim V'Fikim Nova V'Esim Amrko Ha'olam Semekim V'Teitam V'Sasim V'Vom Osim V'Maritzon Kona Ve'Eved Kavod Not Livli Shmos Olavarina L'Zeker Makam Kara L'Shemesh Ve'Yisra Gora Ve'Hikim Surat Al-Banam Shehad No Nilo Kol Simam Varo Shehad No Nilo Kol Simam Varo Ahava Rabba Avtanu Adonai Eloheinu Eloheinu Barotera Kamataleinu Baruch Ve'imoteinu Shebanu V'cha Shebanu V'cha Batlam De'Lukei Kayim Keitei Kodeinu Loveinu Amrakem Rakem Aleinu V'Temin Libeinu Le'avim U'le'asil Li'ishmoa Lilmod U'le'lamev Next page. Vayomer Adonai Moshe Lemor Kaven Vasu Tzitzit Akan Baby Gehem Ledorotam Benat Nu Al Tzitzit Hakan Apatur Sekelen Behayah Lakem Tzitzit Britem Oto Uskartem ekom b'tzvon Adonai v'asitem otam v'lo taturu akarei levahem ve'akarei lehem asher atem zonim akareihem levan tiskiru v'asitem ekom b'tzvotai v'yitem kedoshim Elohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem Asher Tzitiehem Me'eretz Mitzrayim Le'yovahem Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem Moshe u'Miriam u'bnei Yisrael echa'anu shirah v'simcha rabbah v'amru kulam Mi kamoka ba'elim Adonai, Mi kamoka geder b'kodesh, Mi kamoka ba'elim Adonai, Mi kamoka geder b'kodesh. Nora tehilot, oseh Nora tehilot, Eloheinu Adonai Kadosh Shemo, Kadosh Yisrael, Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. Adonai Sevatati Ufi Agite Hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, El Hagadol HaGibor HaNorah, El Elyon, Gomel HaTzadim Tovim, V'Koneh HaKol, V'Zoker Asei Avonimo, U'Megidula U'Mebeihem, L'man Shemo Ve'Avam, Melech Ozer U'Mashiach. Baruch atah Adonai, Magi Avraham, V'Yitzchak Sarah. Atah Gibor Elam Adonai, Mekayem Hasim et Hara HaMashiach, Mashiv HaRuach U'Marit HaGashem, Mekakel Hayim B'Chesed, Mekayem Hakom B'Rakamim Harom. Zohei Noflim V'Rovei Olim, U'Matir Asurim, U'Mekayem Emunato, L'Ishkenei Ahva, Mikamo Kamal Yurot, U'Midot Elavad, Mekemi Tu'Mekayem, U'Masbiach Yeshua, V'Leman atah L'Elot HaKol. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekayem HaMetim. Nekadesh Shemcha ba'olam, Keshem Matishimot Roshei Marom, Kakadu al Yadiecha, Tikara Zelestel Ve'amar, Kadosh, 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 Adonai Sevaot, Meloko haaretz, Kedodo. Atir Adirenu Adonai, Eloheinu Atir Shimcha b'kol haaretz, Baruch Kevod Adonai Mimkomo. Echad Eloheinu, Hu Avinu Hu Malkeinu, Hu Moshienu v'Hu Yashmienu, V'Rakamav Eloheinu Kol Hamay. Ani Adonai Elokem, Yimlok Adonai Leolam, Elohai Yitzilion, Ledor Vador. Hallelujah. Ledor Vador Leka, U'Netzach Netzachim Krishaka Ish, V'Shikaka Eloheinu Mipinu Lo Yamush Leolam Vaed. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Please continue silently through 337. turn to page 328. 328. We're just going to sing a little song. At the top of page 328, we'll sing La Door by Door. La door by door, la door by door, la door by door, nagi yolecha. La door by door, la door by door, la door by door, la door by door, nagi yolecha. Holiness of Netzani, Shetanati, Shetanati. V'shivcha Eloheinu mipinu lo yamush, le'olam le'olam va'ed. L'dor v'ador, l'dor v'ador, l'dor v'ador, nagi yolecha. L'dor v'ador, l'dor v'ador, l'dor v'ador, nagi yolecha. Holiness of Netzani, Shetanati. V'shivcha Eloheinu mipinu lo yamush, le'olam le'olam va'ed. Okay. Bear with me one moment. Since we're not doing the Torah service, I have to find. We have a new month. This is Shabbat Mevorchim, which is the Shabbat before the new month. And I must confess, is the new month Kislev?
Yes.
Thank you. I thought so, but I wasn't sure. And does it start Monday?
Tomorrow.
December.
Starts
Tomorrow.
Sunday.
So yeah, tonight.
Tonight. Okay, good. So let's see. Thank you, David. Thank you.
I gotta thank Sheila because every year for the past a lot of years, as long as I can remember, I've always had a calendar in my room, whether that was in New Jersey, whether that was in New York, whether that was here. And this year, whatever it might be, because of the transition the temple up in New Jersey is going through at the moment, or they cleaned up, which they did. They got the carpets and new walls, and there's the thing that they usually have the calendars on was not there, to the point where this Rosh Hashanah I did not grab one, and so I came back here.
On the wall?
No, not on the wall, but like they had like a rotating thing where flyers and events would be put in, but like they really decluttered everything. It's wide open space now. It's pretty amazing, but the calendars are not there, which is terrible. But so I need to thank Sheila. Thank you, Sheila. Thank you, Sheila, because I got to the end of October and realized I don't have a calendar anymore, and I put it by my door always so I can see these things. And I usually do a Hebrew calendar, or according to my dad, a calendar from. They're usually from. I'm sure you've seen these, but they're from like a Jewish cemetery. But apparently there isn't one in Mississippi. Who knew? So they usually would give them out, and they have like advertisements in it. But that's how I get my calendar, know what day it was, and know what Torah portion it is, and anyway, so I found heapcal.org.
Oh, yeah.
And I went to Sheila and I thanked the temple. I was like, I make a great donation to pay to use the printer here every once in a while. And so she printed out all of next year for me. So I know, and it says all that. It has new information. I'm learning a lot on the
Good.
calendar.
I normally check on that, and I just confess I just forgot to check on that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I
Thank-
gave you a calendar from the synagogue.
Yeah, I know. I have
Yeah.
it, and I have an app. I just didn't check it.
Now there are no pictures on this printed out calendar. It's just the days. So I don't have like the honey and the apple in September anymore, or like the matzah in
Yeah.
April. But you know what? I'll deal with seeing it all in person. But it's Heshbon right now, and Kislev starts tonight.
Kislev, right. With Hanukkah in it.
Amen.
Okay.
Thanksgiving.
Well, Thanksgiving's American
So-
holiday.
Excuse me.
Okay, so let's turn to page
But I'm thankful for
379.
Thank you.
379.
379. We're going to read a prayer for the new month. And let's stand for this. Yehi Ratzon Milpad Eka, Adonai Eloheinu, Melech Avotenu V'Imotenu, Shekadesh Aleinu Et HaKodesh, Hava L'Tova V'Libracha, V'Titein Lanu Chaim Aruchim, Chaim Shel Shalom, Chaim Shel Parnasah, Chaim Shehevanu, Ahavat Torah V'Yirat Shemayim, Chaim Sheimalu Mishalot, Limenu L'Tova, Amen. Our God and God of our ancestors, may the new month bring us goodness and blessing. May we have long life, peace, prosperity, a life exalted by the love of Torah and reverence for the divine, a life in which the longings of our hearts are filled for good. Rosh Chodesh Kislev will begin tonight. All right.
How do we say manana in Hebrew?
Tomorrow.
All right. Thank you. Okay. I'm
I have
gonna go
a
ahead.
question. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you know what happens if what if the first day of the month's like on like Wednesday?
Uh-huh.
Like right in between Shabbats? Which one do we say this on? The one right before it?
The one before
Do
it.
we do that if it's on that far away?
It's the
Yeah.
Shabbat. Yeah. If it's that whatever Shabbat it is before Rosh Chodesh is when you do it.
Okay.
Yeah. Doesn't matter how.
Doesn't matter how far away it is.
No.
Keep
There are
it
probably
right.
100 pages of Talmud differentiating the two, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna go ahead and do Misha Barak, and then after that we'll have Jim. We'll have you come up and do your drosh on the portion you've selected from Toldot,
Thank you.
and then we'll have David. Okay. So I'm on page 371 at the top. Misha Barak, Avoteinu Imotenu, Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah, who Yivarech, who Yivarech, and Holim, who Yivarech, et HaKolim, who Yivarech, et HaKolim. For Lauren Rosenbaum Brown, Ruth Corder, Bill Godhelf, Eric Heron, Jerry Jacobs, Harry Kolodny, Jerry Prince, Damian Riggs, Yolanda Henderson Riggs, Art Solomon, Joyce Salomon, Michael Sawyer, Betty Shornick, Gilbert Solick, Elisa Rubinsky Stein, Catherine Weiner, Rosalind Wolpen, Garland Wright, and anybody that you are thinking of today.
My darling, wonderful, beautiful wife, Angela Hoffberg.
Marilyn Edelstein and Sydney Sachs.
HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yimalei Rachamim Aleichem L'Hakalim Amu Raputam L'Haksaikam V'Yishlach Lahem Mahera Refuah Shalema Min HaShamayim Refuat HaNefesh Refuat HaGuf Hashta Bagala Ubizman Karev Ve'omar Amen. Very good. Okay, Jim, if you want to come up and give us a little drosh.
Let me get some water if I may, please.
Okay.
I've got another question in the meantime. Not that we're all experts here, but have any of you ever been given an explanation or know why? Why did we do, a few moments ago, we did some prayers silently. Like, it's like Yismachu's there and whatever it was earlier. Just those few prayers. Why did we do that section silently? Is there a reason for that?
I don't know.
I don't know answer to that. Maybe we could ask.
I will
Rabbi
earmark
Burns
that.
comes in,
Yeah, write that down.
One time I thought about trying to find melodies for every part of that so that we could sing through the whole thing, but I haven't done that yet.
I have a lot of them for that. That's why, like, because I've in former the kind of communities I've been part of, we would do those prayers out loud together, and I just didn't know when. I don't know. That,
Yeah.
not one way is not better than the other. I didn't know if maybe is that a more personal, reflective moment? Is that why it's silent? Is there?
Probably.
Yeah, I don't know whether
Yeah.
as compared to.
Probably so. And
Sounds
usually, I mean, traditionally it's repeated. So at one point it's done silently, and then the cantor does some of it, I believe. So
Yeah.
it's
That's the
usually
whole
done
thing.
twice. Yeah. So
Second time through.
Oh, really?
it's often repeated. Yeah.
I forget what page that was on. But you've got like the Shamru, and you've got Yusmiku, then you have Sim Shalom, then you have it was the same page that you said 150 something a second ago.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was just curious. Well,
Yeah.
I'll ask Rabbi when he's back.
Probably.
But if you want some tunes, I think I've got some in the bank for those.
Oh, good.
Just check something. Pull up here.
And what page was the door one? I totally just lost it.
328 or something like that.
I'm way out. I'm way out. Put a bookmark.
Yeah, 328.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
What I'll be doing is I'll be talking today about Genesis 25, 20 verses 29 through 34. How one sells your birthright for a mess of pottage. In talking about that today, I'd like to touch on a number of different items. One is from some Native American wisdom. Another is something that Rabbi Bradley Shabbat Artson has told us, and a reference to what happened with not just Jacob, but Jacob's son, Joseph. If I may, just to refresh your memories, it's once when Jacob was cooking a stew, Esau came in from the open famished. And Esau said to Jacob, "Give me some of that red stuff to gulp down, for I am famished," which is why he was named Edom. Jacob said, "First sell me your birthright." And Esau said, "I'm at the point of death, so of what use is my birthright to me?" But Jacob said, "Swear to me first." So he swore to him and sold his birthright to Jacob. Jacob then gave Esau bread and stew. He ate and drank, and he rose and went away. Thus did Esau spurn his birthright. The point of departure in my discussion today is first a proverb from Native American. Seek wisdom and not knowledge. Knowledge is of the past. Wisdom is of the future. In this parsha, Jacob showed wisdom. His son Joseph would show that later. Perhaps it ran in the family, like father, like son. Rabbi Bradley Shabbat Artson said that this parsha is an example of how the man of action, Esau, meets the man of foresight, the man of foresight, Jacob. Esau comes home from a day of hunting. He wants to eat. Jacob has been home. He's prepared a pot of lentil stew. Acting on impulse, Esau demands to be fed. Jacob agrees to sell his brother the stew in exchange for Esau's birthright. That better be a good stew he's making. As Rabbi Artson says, Jacob lives with one foot in the future. He's not as powerful as his brother. He compensates by using his mind and weighing the consequences. He prefers to skip a meal if that means he will acquire the birthright of the covenant. Jacob is the model for us of the truly developed human. Remember from the Mishnah, who is powerful? Those able to conquer their own impulses. Jacob is foreshadowing the need for us to plan ahead, like father, like son. We shifted ahead a few more verses in Genesis. And Joseph said to Pharaoh, Pharaoh's dreams are one and the same. Pharaoh has been told what God is about to do. I'm sure we're all familiar with the dreams, the healthy cows, the ugly, lean and ugly cows. And Joseph, in interpreting that dream for Pharaoh, said, Pharaoh has been shown what God is about to do. Immediately ahead are 7 years of great abundance in the land of Egypt, and after them will come 7 years of famine. Like his father, Joseph saw the future. Joseph started planning ahead. As for Pharaoh having the same dream twice, it means that the matter has been determined by God, that God will soon carry it out. And thus, Joseph is put in charge of the food production. He took advantage of the 7 strong years, the 7 productive years. And as a result of seeing the future, planning the future, he was able to prepare for the future and have grain that was available that ultimately he could share with his father. He could share Jacob. So it goes around, comes around. As Jacob saw the future, Joseph can see the future. Because Joseph saw the future, Joseph was able to feed Jacob in the future. And he gathered all the grain of the 7 years that the land of Egypt was enjoying, and stored the grain in the cities. He put each field of the grain of the city of the fields around it. So Joseph collected produce in very large quantity, like the sands of the sea, until he ceased to measure it, for it could not be measured. So again, we see the payoff. Jacob seeing the future and then being able to benefit from it because Joseph was able to see the future. In closing, I'd like to bring us back to another Native American proverb. Tell me and I'll forget. Show me and I may not remember. Involve me, and I'll understand. So what we have to do is be involved so that we can understand the need of preparing for the future. Past may be a guide, past perhaps in some cases may be prologue, but we have to work together in preparing the future, in preparing for the future. The Torah can show us how to be involved preparing for the future. Jacob trading lentils for Esau's birthright. Joseph seeing the future. He planned for it. And to close on another Native American proverb, this is from the Cheyenne. A danger foreseen is half avoided. Jacob foresaw the future. Joseph saw the future. And they helped avoid future dangers. Thank you.
Thank you,
After
Jim.
God.
Thank you.
Well done, well done.
You're very kind.
Here.
I can read the Hebrew if you want. Not chanted, but so it wouldn't count as a chanting.
You can't sight read trope. Neither can I. Oh, you don't need a sight read trope. It's all there. Is this one you want?
David, would you like
Here you
to
go.
take us through the Haftarah?
Sure. Yeah, I'm not used to how it feels without, prayers and everything. So I
I
didn't know
know, I know.
if this is the moment.
But are you afraid that you haven't a prayer?
What?
Are you afraid that you haven't a prayer?
No, I just didn't know if this is when you wanted me to come up here.
Yeah. and
Especially
then-
to follow that
and-
great analysis.
Yeah, if you'll do the blessings,
Oh yeah, if you'd like me to do the blessings, of course.
please.
Just remind me what page it's on. I closed my book. I forget where.
372.
These are the Haftarah. Is the prayers 372, you said?
Yeah.
372.
They're my favorite. They're my favorite. I just love. Speaking of trope, I love the trope of Haftarah. So, thank you for asking me to do this. I appreciate it. It means a lot to me. All right. So yes, on 372, the blessing before the Haftarah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Oh, that's the ending one. I'm sorry. I was reading the bottom of the page. It's the top of the page. There's two of them. They're on the same page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nim tovim v'ratza b'divreihem hanemarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai Abocher b'Torah u'Moshe ado u'Yisrael amo u'Nevi'ei ha'emet v'tzedek. It would help if I looked at the right part of the page that I just identified for everyone to go to. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
So today I found it on Safaria after we figured out where it was. The Haftarah for this week is the first book or scroll of Samuel, chapter 20, verses 18 through 42. And or Samuel Aleph, as apparently it's called, even though they don't use the Aleph, which is my favorite Hebrew letter. So where is it? Why did they not use it? But interestingly enough, so one reason I also really appreciate you asking me to do this is because it encourages me to actually read the whole thing and study the Haftarah, which I admittedly do not do every single week like I do the Torah portion, because it's almost secondary. It's kind of there. But Haftarah are supposed to be a supplement, additional thought, not Torah, but an extension that is part of our tradition that helps emphasize the point of the Torah portion.
In other words, it's more than an extra point after a touchdown.
It's not, sure. I love the, thank you for, I'm glad we have someone in here who knows sports, because I don't. But the interesting thing I found is that while Haftarah is supposed to be the addition for the Torah portion we just read, it turns out that this one has absolutely nothing to do with this week's Torah portion. In fact, it is purposefully nothing to do with this week's Torah portion. It is actually because tonight is the first day of a new month. And this Torah portion, which Haftarah, I'll read a few verses of. I will read the Torah portion. It has to do with the new moon and an event that occurs at the time of the new moon. It's not, we'll talk more about this in a second, but it's not necessarily, I found, about that fact. It just so happens that it mentions the new moon, and that when we have, it's not every time we have a new month. There's, I forget the exact reason, but there's 1 or 2 times a year. I think it's the month before Passover, and this one, for whatever reason. I gotta remind myself later of why Kislev is that moment. But this Haftarah is specific because a new month starts tonight. So that's pretty cool. So we get a whole different thing. So, just to give a brief introduction, because I find that if I just pick up wherever they say the chapter starts, I am lost. We need to know the context of what is happening before and after. We are in chapter 20 of an entire scroll. But in the immediate moments before chapter 20, there's something interesting happening, and it actually has to do with David. Very perfect. Did you know that when you asked me to do this? Because this is the part where we talk about David. It's great. I just want you to imagine for a second, as I did when I was going through this, that you are the king or queen of your nation. Just take a second. Maybe we could close our eyes just for a moment. I know it's not, just a moment to think about if you were totally the king or the queen of your nation, right? And there is this adversary, like another nation, that is completely your enemy. And you're about to go to battle with them. And they send their biggest, their baddest, their most proven warrior to take you down. And you send a guy with a slingshot and a pebble, and which, by the way, this whole thing about how David was able to whip around the actual slingshot. It's not just like, what we think. It's literally, it was this whole thing. These people were actually able to really swing rocks and pebbles and stones to the point where they were like faster, and they were like bullets in today's guns, is the reference. David does that and shoots a pebble and totally knocks out Goliath, and that's it. And they win. Like, this big bad Goliath is taken down, and that's the story of David and Goliath, which actually is right here in the first scroll of Samuel, right before chapter 20, it's chapter 18. And how would you feel if you were the king or queen and this little shepherd takes out the Goliath character, and everyone is chanting, not that you, king or queen, is so great, but how great is David? How great is this guy David? I know I'm pretty cool, but how great is that guy David? I mean, look what he just did. The shepherd just comes out of nowhere, comes down the hill. They're like, he's in this battle armor. Goliath can't even move. They're known for wearing metal, the Philistines, and then all of a sudden, from like a distance, Goliath wants you to come up and fight him. David's just like, right through the forehead with the pebble. They're all celebrating David's praise. How would you feel if you were the king? You're supposed to, you're not a democratic leader. You're the king. You're supposed to be the king. And no one is acknowledging how great you are in this moment. They're parading David through the streets right here.
Well, King Saul, let's just say, doesn't feel great. Yeah, I just want to read just a few lines from from chapter 18 to set up the scene, or else chapter 20 will make absolutely no sense, because I read chapter 20 first, and to me it made no sense until I went back a few chapters and figured it out. After David had finished talking with Saul, he met the king's son. There was an immediate bond of love between them, David and Jonathan, the king's son. Saul's son is Jonathan. And they became best of friends. From that day on, Saul kept David with him at the palace and wouldn't let him return home. And Jonathan made a special vow to be David's friend. And he sealed the pact by giving him his robe, tunic, sword, bow, and belt. Whatever Saul, the king, asked David to do, David did it successfully. So Saul made him a commander in his army, an appointment that was applauded by the fighting men and officers alike. But something happened when the victorious Israelite army was returning home after David had killed Goliath. Women came out from all the towns along the way to celebrate and cheer for King Saul, and they sang and danced for joy with tambourines and cymbals. This was their song. Saul has killed his thousands, David his tens thousands. Basically saying David's 10 times better at this war thing. This made Saul very angry. What's this, he said. They credit David with tens thousands and me with only thousands? Next they'll be making him their king. So from that time on, Saul kept a jealous eye on David. So he emerges victorious. Saul's men can't get this war thing figured out against Goliath. David does. They celebrate him. Saul gets jealous. Importantly, after all this, Jonathan, the king's son, becomes friends with David. They make a whole pact where he exchanges gifts, which is their covenant together. But Saul is not very happy that he's not getting credit for this. So Saul gets pretty angry and tries to kill David a few times, but that's the next chapter. Okay. Here is this week's Haftarah. And again, it is the new month. David has eaten with this family every month. On the new month, they eat, they have a feast. But at this point, Saul is like multiple times tried to actually kill David by throwing a spear at him and things like that, very seriously. But Jonathan is saying, there's no way that's true. I know my father, he would trust me. But David says, no, you and I are friends. Your father, the king, is not actually telling you his true feelings toward me. Even though he's promoting me and everything, he's really out to try and kill me. He's going to try and kill me at this dinner. And Jonathan's like, I don't believe you. But this is where we pick up in this story. So then Jonathan said, tomorrow we celebrate the new moon festival. You will be missed when your place at the table is empty. The day after tomorrow, toward the evening, go to the place where you hid before, out in the forest, and wait there by the stone pile. I will come out and shoot 3 arrows to the side of the stone pile, as though I were shooting a target. Then I will send a boy to bring the arrows back. If you hear me tell him, they're on this side, then you will know, as surely as the Lord lives, that all is well and there is no trouble. But if I tell him, go farther, the arrows are still ahead of you, then it will mean that you must leave immediately, for the Lord is sending you away, and may the Lord make us keep our promises to each other, for he has witnessed them. Jonathan is saying, okay, I don't believe you that my father wants to kill you, but just in case, don't show up on the first day. Okay, go over here. Tonight's the new moon. We're gonna eat dinner tomorrow. You go hide. I'll shoot my arrows. No one will suspect anything. I'm just gonna go out and shoot archery like normal and practice. And if I give you this signal, you'll know what I've found out, whether my father is actually angry or not that you're not there because he wants to kill you, or whether he's just like, oh, okay, that's fine, because he doesn't care, and I'm right. So David hid himself in the field, and when the new moon festival began, the king sat down to eat. He sat at his usual place against the wall, with Jonathan sitting opposite him and Abner beside him. But David's place was empty. Saul didn't say anything about it that day, for he said to himself, something must have made David ceremonially unclean. Yes, that must be why he's not here. So it turns out it's okay to not show up to this festival because you have to be pure for this ritual but David must not be. He didn't show up. But when David's place was empty again the next day, Saul asked Jonathan, "Why hasn't the son of Jesse been here for dinner either yesterday or today?" Jonathan replied, "David earnestly asked me if he could go to Bethlehem. He wanted to take part in a family sacrifice with his family. His brother demanded that he be there, so I told him he could go. That's why he isn't here." So Jonathan's making excuses now. Saul boiled with rage at Jonathan. Excuse my language, but I'm quoting. "You stupid son of a whore." He swore at him, "Do you think I don't know that you want David to be a king in your place, shaming yourself and your mother? As long as that son of Jesse is alive, you'll never be king. Now go and get him, so I can kill him." So he's getting the sense that God is choosing David as the next king. And he's kind of like, "Why? My son doesn't want to take on this inheritance because you're friends with him? What is this? You're my son. You're going to be king. Get rid of this guy. We have to kill him." "But what has Jesse done?" Jonathan demanded. "Why should he be put to death?" Then Saul hurled his spear at Jonathan, intending to kill him. So at last Jonathan realized that his father was really determined to kill David. Jonathan left the table in fierce anger and refused to eat all that day, for he was crushed by his father's shameful behavior toward David. The next morning, as agreed, Jonathan went into the field and took a young boy with him to gather his arrows. "Start running," he told the boy, "so you can find the arrows as I shoot them." So the boy ran, and Jonathan shot an arrow beyond him. When the boy had almost reached the arrow, Jonathan shouted, "The arrow is still ahead of you. Hurry, hurry, don't wait." So the boy quickly gathered up the arrows and ran back to his master. He, of course, didn't understand what Jonathan meant. Only Jonathan and David knew. Then Jonathan gave his bow and arrows to the boy and told him to take them back to the city. As soon as the boy was gone, David came out from where he had been hiding near the stone pile. Then David bowed to Jonathan with his face in the ground. Both of them were in tears as they embraced and kissed each other and said goodbye, especially David. At last Jonathan said to David, "Go in peace, for we have made a pact in the Lord's name. We have entrusted each other and each other's children into the Lord's hand forever." So, what's interesting is Jonathan realizes his father really did want to kill David. But we don't know how he's going to react to that. Is he going to be truthful in this connection and tell David, "Seriously, go, or else you're going to be like him"? Or would he tell him everything's fine and say, "Okay, my father's right," and who knows what would have happened after that? The power of friendship here stands out a lot. And we come off of a week here where maybe we all have some feasts and Thanksgiving dinners, some dinners of our own in American tradition on Thanksgiving. And we celebrate things that we're thankful for. And in this moment, David probably feels pretty thankful to have such a friend. And it seems Jonathan, who's about 20 or 30 years older, according to the research I did, than David is, this is a friendship that they bonded. You can have friends of all ages, and Jonathan's probably pretty happy too, because they made this commitment, as he says, and they became friends, and he was not going to allow his friend to be killed. So in this moment, Jonathan chooses whether he could be angry and violent also in reaction, just like his father is, and follow suit, or can he be a friend to David and also to God because of this friendship and commitment that they made to each other that clearly was so strong after all this time. If they're hugging and kissing and not wanting to leave, and they're not going to see each other and their children, they exchanged, the bow and everything. That showed that. As I want to just read one quote here that I thought described this really well, by Rabbi Tuvia Brander. He said that this commitment to each other, that themselves, let me say that again. The quote is that here you see this commitment to each other that transcends the moment. it's bigger than Jonathan becoming king next or David becoming king next, but it's that they made a commitment to each other. They were friends. And should we all be so lucky to have a friend like that? So you've got this stuff about the new year. I mean, the new month, sorry. The new month, the new moon, the rituals. They give an excuse about why David might not have been there. Maybe he wasn't pure. So now we learned a little bit about the pure, whether people are pure or not. But when this was written, the people probably understood this natively. So we can learn that. The point of this is that friendship. And as we enter into a new month, again, today, tomorrow, we also have a chance to make choices. Are we going to enter the new month or the new year or the new whatever as someone who's going to be jealous and angry and thinking about the little things? Or are we going to enter in with this chance of renewal that a new month brings and a chance of friendship and love like we're celebrating this week at Thanksgiving? I am thankful for all of you and this community and this month and every month. As we spoke about in the Musar class, the Midah of Anavah, humility, Jonathan has to have a lot of humility here to not just be all, I'm going to be king. Okay, we'll just make it happen, even if it requires killing someone. But on a Rosh Chodesh like this evening, we all have a chance to be like Jonathan and David and choose friendship. And so it's a story of friendship. Shabbat Shalom. It's a long one too. A lot of verses there. Now the blessing after the Haftarah on the bottom of page 372. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Sor kol haolamim Tzadik b'kol hadorot Ha'el ha'ne'eman Ha'omer ve'oseh Ha'medaber u'mekayim Shekol divarachav emet b'tzedek Al ha'torah Ve'al ha'avodah Ve'al ha'minim Ve'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh Shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu L'kedusha v'limluka L'kavod u'tifaret Al ha'kol Adonai Eloheinu Anachnu modim lach Umvarchim otach Yitvarach shimcha b'fi kol chai Tamid le'olam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh Hashem.
Thank you, David.
Thanks for listening.
Very good.
Okay. We'll turn to page 586 for Elenu.
Shelo asanu gimune abatzon, velo stamanu mishpekot adama, shelo stam elkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu kivol amona, v'anagnu korim, v'mishtagalim modim, v'melech malkei amlakim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shemot Shamayim V'yozeh Haaretz Moshe Karo B'Shamayim Al Ushkinatu Zo V'gohen Eromim Hu Eloheinu Eino Emet Malkeinu Efes Ulato Kakatu Shivota Elavaka. Ki Adonai Hu Elohim Hashamayim Ima'o Ve'al haaretz Mitachar Einon Al Keineka Ve'lecha Adonai Eloheinu Lirot Mehei Rabbi Feret Uzecha Lehavir Gilulin Min Haaretz Ha'elilim Karot Yikaretun Litaken Olam B'malchut Shaddai V'kol b'nei Basar Yikru B'shmecha Lahafnei Lecha Kol Rishei Haaretz V'yakiru v'yedu Kol Yoshvei Tevel Ki Lecha Tikra Kol Berek Tishavat Kol Lashon Lefanecha Adonai Eloheinu Yigaru v'yipolu V'likvoshim Kayitenu V'kavelu kulam et ol malchutecha V'timlo v'leihem V'hera le'olam ba'ed Ki ha'malchut shelcha hi Ule'amei ad Timlo b'kavod Kakatu v'toratecha Adonai Nimlok le'olam ba'ed V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai L'melech al kol ha'aretz V'yom hahu Yeh Adonai echad U'shemo echad.
Shabbat Shalom.
Mourner's Cottage is on page 598. Our thoughts are with the Thomas family as they mourn the loss of Merrill Thomas, Tamar Sharp and family as they mourn the loss of Bill Chernikoff, and with all those who are observing yard sites. Harold Berg, Carl Bona, Sidney Goldfarb, Louis Carno, Melvin Katz, Bernard Lasky, Lucian Loeb, Frida Orkin, Byron Rhodes, Albert Rosenfeld, Seymour Schwartz, Melvin Sleefkin, Gary Lee Smith, Maurice Sontheimer, Alan Stewart, Ben Weiner, Gail Wilson, Emil Wise, and anyone that you are remembering today.
Lawson Metz.
No, Yidgadar Shemei Rabbah. Naman Yirak Yerotei V'Amli Malchutei. V'Tayei Kom V'Yomei Kom. V'Tayei V'Obei Yisrael. V'Agala Mizman Kari V'Yimru Amen. Yehi Shemei Rabbah V'Barak Le'Olam Layam. Yitbarach V'Yishtabach V'Yitpahar V'Yisroman V'Yitnaseh. Yitadar V'Yithalel V'Yithalal Shemei Kudishah V'Rihu. Lam Mikol Birkata V'Shirakta. Tushbikakta V'Nekamata. Damiran V'Alman V'Yimru Amen. Yehi Shlam Rabba Mishamaya. V'Chaim Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael V'Yimru Amen. Shalom B'Romav. Uyah Shalom. Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael V'Yimru Amen.
May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say,
Amen.
Just a few announcements. The Musar study group will meet next on December 3rd in the library. The congregational meeting will be December 8th at 4:30. Please mark your calendars for that, and more information will be sent via email. The BIC Book Club will meet on December 16th, hosted by Catherine Weiner, and the book this month is People of the Book by Geraldine Brooks. The Hanukkah dinner will be December 29th at 5:30. There is no charge, but you will need to RSVP so we can get a count. And although there is no charge, we do take any and all donations. Look in the blast for info on how to sign up for the Kroger Community Rewards Program. This is a good, cost-free for you, this program to donate to the temple, and while you are at it, please remember MOWs perhaps with a gift card from Kroger. And as always, all of this and more is in the blast and the highlights. Yasher Koach to Jim and David today for sharing their thoughts and words of wisdom for us on the Torah part portion and the Haftarah. Thank you so much. And thank you all for being here. Your presence is very much appreciated. We'll finish today with, let's just finish with the Don't Olam on page 625. Adon Olam Asher
Malach,
B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra, Le'ed Nasa B'Chesto Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra, Akarei Yiglot HaKol, Le'ado Yimlot Nora, V'hu Maya V'hu Obed, V'hu Yeh V'Yivara, V'hu Echad Ein Sheni, V'hamshil Lo Le'Adira, V'li Reshit V'li Taklit, V'lo Ha'od V'hamshira, V'leili V'haigo Ali, V'tzor Evli V'etzara, V'hu Nisi Umanos Li, V'nanos Li V'yom Egra, V'yado Akid Ruchi, V'hei Shan V'aniva, V'ni Ruchi V'riyati, Adonai Li V'lo Yira. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Yasher Koach, Mandy. Thanks for leading
Yasher
us.
Koach, David and Jim.